This is a CBC podcast.
Hi, I'm Lou, the host of Love Me, a CBC podcast about the messiness of human connection. Our brand new season is available now, featuring deeply personal stories, like a man who learns all about love while imprisoned at Guantanamo Bay, two brothers stuck sharing a room again as adults, and a note slipped into the back pocket of someone's jeans that leads to a surprising late-night encounter. Subscribe at cbc.ca/loveme or wherever you get your podcasts. And listen to Season 3, available now.
Hey Canada! Tonight's house is anything but common. From our nation's capital, Ottawa, Ontario, it's The Debaters! The Debaters, where comedians play with facts and funny, and this audience picks the winner. Now here's a man who's definitely not over the hill, Steve Patterson!
Hey! Hello, Canada! Welcome back to The Debaters! We are in Ottawa, which is a beautiful frosty place. It has 250 outdoor ice rinks. That is a lot of rinks. Although I wonder, City of Ottawa, did you ever think of having fewer outdoor rinks so there would be room for one indoor rink for your professional hockey team to play within city limits? Okay, not a bad reaction. We were worried that joke would fall LeBreton flat. Now, are you ready to meet two debaters who always take it to the limit? What a start. What a start we have here. This comic is as fit as a fiddle and as plucky as a banjo. It's Dave Hemstad. Dave Hemstad. Striding purposely to the podium to my right and getting ready. And this comic has two gears, forwards and Edwards. It's Derek Edwards. Derek Edwards, the one and only, making his way to the podium to my left, and he looks ready to go. Wow, this topic couldn't be a better one for this place and for this time. We're in Ottawa, where there's no shortage of winter activities. Snowball fights. Should they be banned? Now, when I was a kid growing up in London, Ontario, we were in the snow belt, which meant there was always plenty of snow to belt people with. My method was to build up a large stockpile of snowballs. Other kids did the same. And though our parents hoped we'd never have to use them, we were ready if we did. We called it the Cold War, which we should have trademarked because before we knew it, the term was stolen by the Russians. Let's get to the battle at hand. Whereas it's all fun and games until someone gets hurt, be it resolved that snowball fights should be banned. Derek, you're arguing for this, please. You have 2 minutes, starting now.
Welcome for my part. People hearken back to these delightful battles with high school friends, and may I emphasize, memories are much rosier with the passage of time. Anyone want to relive those golden moments today, for instance? Anyone feel like some melting snow trickling down their neck and back, do you think? No, it was stupid then, it's dumber now. And who of us here can honestly say they don't have that one snowball they regret? You actually flinch to remember. They say maybe you were aiming at a friend, but then some little guy with glasses, and then smack, and now he's crying. Or even worse, you hit a big kid. Some galoot shaven by grade 8. Because time was, if a fella fancied a girl, a fresh-packed snowball to the throat, passed on the sentiment, like a single red rose. And that recess, I only had eyes for Claire. I certainly didn't see Skull Crusher McGee looming behind her. But I knew the moment it left my mitt, I'd made a huge mistake. I mean, I used to have a wide head. Growing up, old Pumpkinhead, they used to call me. But after that day, well, sure, Dave, it's all fun and games. But you tell that to the kid with perpendicular eyes. Science, I'm looking through the microscope, both eyes at once. It has to be stopped. Thank you.
Derek Edwards, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Nice job. Thank you, Derek.
Thank you.
Now, to tell us that he'll fight anyone who wants to ban snowball fights, it's Winter Wonderman Dave Hemstad.
Thank you, Steve. That bell's really... All right. Snowball fights shouldn't be banned. They should be mandatory. They introduce integral life-building concepts like strategizing, math, engineering, topography, teamwork, hand-eye coordination, reflexes, and emotional intelligence. You'll learn important survival skills like how far can I throw? How fast can I run? And if you don't like the answers to those questions, how can I make friends with the alpha predator? How can I fake sick so I don't have to go outside today? These are valuable life skills that we need as adults in the workforce. Snowball fights help you learn quick. Parents aren't allowed to hit their kids anymore. But some things should hit you growing up. It's invigorating, right? I mean, you can't ban getting hurt. Life hurts. So why ban one of the fun ways to get hurt? Do snowball fights ever get carried away by someone who takes it too far? Maybe. In which case you ban the player, not the game. Fighting in hockey has been drastically reduced, but we never banned hockey. And we shouldn't be teaching meatheads that if they're determined enough, they can ruin the game for decent, fun-loving people. That's how we get crappy presidents. What are you going to ban next? Sticking your tongue to metal poles? Come on, man! It's winter. You're going to ruin Winterlude. Thank you.
Dave Hemstad. Yep. Pretty strong. Time now for the bare knuckle round. We're asking if snowball fights should be banned, so plan a surprise attack and winterupt each other. I'm admitting that one got away from me. The last thing you want to encounter from this audience is an icy reception, so do your best to hit your mark, or this whole thing is a face wash. Start throwing now.
Yeah, no kidding.
Ding!
That was great.
Look, first of all, God forbid kids go outside and play for a bit. One of my favorite memories is the glee that comes from running in sheer terror as a snowball whizzes by your head. You're never more alive than after a near-death experience. And if it does hit you, well, you know, concussion studies have shown it's important to get a few when you're young.
I'm not
to build up immunity.
I'm not.
Those are just baby thoughts.
That doesn't seem like a real thing, Dave. Derek.
Yeah. Look, I was listening to The Current yesterday. It's a show on some station, I can't remember. And they said this is a fact, that apparently fully 33% of Americans are not completely convinced that the earth is round. I'm not kidding. I guess in political terms they're called the base. So you can't allow Americans unfettered access to things you can throw. Their synapses are barely tied onto their brainstem. Barely tethered there with the thinnest little thread. That ball can't keep everything together. If you hit him in the head with snow, that's it. That's it. It's the end of the world.
Well, yeah, but see, if you make a flat snowball and a round snowball, maybe you could teach them a little bit about the universe.
All right. That's the bare knuckle round. It is time now for the firing line. In my hand, I have a list of questions on snowball fights brought to you by the Snowbank. The Snowbank. If we discover cold, hard cash in a slush fund, we'll freeze your account. Question number 1. How did 9-year-old Dane Best change a century-old law banning snowball fights in a Colorado town? Dave?
I believe he hid edibles in the snowballs. Colorado's a great place.
That's a pretty good answer. I would give a point for that. Derek Edwards.
Well, little Dickens, he organized knife fights at school. And so they said, we'll bring back them snowballs.
Actually, Dane Best changed a century-old law banning snowball fights in Colorado with a PowerPoint presentation in front of the town's board of trustees. Yeah.
There you go.
Score 1 for the nerds.
There you go. Yeah, he certainly did his Dane best.
According to artofmanliness.com, what clothing option is most effective for snowball fighting? Dave?
No clothing, Steve. That's the art of manliness.
Yeah.
The audience has given you 2. Derek?
Squeaky?
Derek?
They recommend a full mouth guard with a cyanide capsule in case you get captured.
The artofmanliness.com recommends wearing gloves instead of mittens. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Art of Manliness. That's the firing line, everybody. All right. Almost time for our beautiful Meridian Theater audience to vote. But first, here again to tell us that he wants to stop this banning talk before it snowballs. Here's the cold as ice, but twice as nice, Dave Hempstead.
Thank you again, Steve. Look, there are very few perks to snow outside of eating it and turning it yellow. And everyone knows we're getting weaker and softer with each generation. Kids are allergic to everything. They live in fear constantly. But no one's allergic to snow, because packing snowballs actually washes all the peanut butter off their hands. So snowball fights save lives. In conclusion, if you had a snowball in your hand, perfectly packed snowball in your hand, and Eugene Melnick was walking down the street, all's I'm saying. No, that's it. That's all I'm saying. All's I'm saying.
Dave Hempstead, everybody. Getting some love from this Ottawa audience, saying don't ban snowballs because you want to ping the Senator's owner off the head with them. And then eating snow and turning it yellow, and the order is important on that.
Yes.
Good points, Dave, in that closing argument. Now, to tell us that snowball fights aren't all right, it's the never frosty Derek Edwards.
You see, well, these jokers ambushed me one morning with a barrage of snowballs, but then they must have brought it from home. They doused them with hair conditioner with revitalizing jojoba oil. How could I know? It was like wearing a Target all day. My hair was so shiny and radiant. Every goon in school was knuckle rubbing my scalp trying to mess it up. But it was so effing manageable. It just fell right back into place. I just went from headlock to headlock. It was only through God's good grace that my skull was still so compressed. I was able to wrangle out of all of them. People, we've just got to stop the carnage.
Derek Edwards. Derek Edwards on banning snowballs. It is time to vote, theater audience, by applause. Who thinks Derek's snowball ban made him the man? Derek Edwards. Woo. Okay. And who thinks Dave's pro snowball gall had it all? Dave Hempstead. Woo! I think it was close enough to be a tie. It's inconclusive. Derek Edwards and Dave Hempstead, everybody.
You're listening to The Debaters on CBC Radio. Did you know you can get past episodes of The Debaters on iTunes? Go to cbc.ca/The Debaters to find out how. And now, back to Steve Patterson.
Hey, Ottawa, are you ready to meet your next pair of debaters? Let's do it. Having this comic on the show is always good kismet. Welcome, Deb Kimmett. Deb Kimmett. There she is, always looking ready for a comedic fight and a great show. And this comic will never drop the mic. It's Mike Wilmot. Mike Wilmot. Your topic is age. Age. Is 60 the new 40? Some people have already decided we're going to go through the debate anyway, if that's okay. This has been claimed by media outlets like Psychology Today and CBS News. So if 60 really is the new 40, that means 40 is the new 20. And if I board a train in Chicago at 2 o'clock, traveling at 120 kilometers an hour, when I arrive in Toronto, I'll be 17? This new math is hard. On to our next word problem. Whereas many baby boomers are healthy, productive, and having fun, be it resolved that 60 is the new 40. Mike, you are arguing for this, please.
Oh, I am?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
You have 2 minutes, starting now.
Hang on. All right. Stop it. I got 2 minutes. 60 is the new 40. I'll be 56 years old at the end of this month, and I, for one, am thrilled to be 4 years shy of 40. I have a feeling that the reason people feel younger nowadays than before, in a nutshell, in a concise, one-word answer. Wait a minute. I've forgotten where I was going. There is one reason. No, hold on. Back. I got it. Moisturizer. Moisturizer is what's keeping me alive. I mean this, I have never, and Steve will back me up, I've never been this moist. In fact, this took me twice as long to type because my fingers kept sliding off the keyboard. It also helps, by the way, that when you were 40, you were in the worst shape of your life. I was 50 pounds overweight, or whatever that is in kilometers. I was a chain smoker and a heavy drinker. And if I did die, it would have made more sense to hang me in a deli window than put me in a casket. Anyway, when I turned 51, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, which is a DIY disease. And now I'm smoke free, and I run 5K a day. And I'll tell you, the hardest part about running 5K a day is keeping it to yourself. Anyway, 60 is the new 40, and every time I feel a bit old and down, I always try to remember what the Vikings used to say. 60 is highly unlikely. Stephen.
Mike Wilmot says 60 is the new 40. Thank you, Mike. Now, to tell us that 60 is the new 40 is the new punchline, here's Spring Chicken, Deb Kimmett.
60 is the new 40. Imagine saying that in any other situation. Like when a cop pulls you over for speeding. You'd lose your license and your points, which is what you're losing in this argument, Mike. Woo! If 60 were the new 40, a 60-year-old man wouldn't have to leave you for a 40-year-old woman because he'd already have one. At 40, you're talking about your new food plan. At 60, you're thinking, eat it, don't eat it, shut up about it. At 40, you're still buying self-help books. At 60, you're having a yard sale for those self-help books. Because by this point, you've done everything to improve. You've got your colors done, you've been disrupted, downsized, amalgamated, thought outside the box, thought inside the box, drank wine from the box. And at 60, you know you have absolutely no potential. There's nothing wrong with being the age that you actually are. See, at 60, I have no PMS. Yes. In fact, I now know it wasn't hormones, it was me. I'm a bitch. I've been in a bad mood since the 80s, okay? In fact, some days I think 60 is the new 80, and that way it makes me feel young. I no longer take nonsense from anyone. I don't apologize. I cut people off in traffic and then I ghost them. You know what ghosting is when your kids won't text you back? I pretend I don't see them because I'm not just getting older, I'm getting shorter. Thank you.
Deb Kimmett. Deb Kimmett does not think 60 is the new 40. In fact, she thinks of it as 60 is the new 80 to make herself feel better. It's time now for the firing line. In my hand, I have a list of questions on 60 is the new 40, brought to you by the perfect new product for loosening up old joints, WD-60. The British government's chief medical officer says baby boomers will stay healthier the longer they put off what? Mike.
Dying.
Can't really argue with that. That's a full point.
Next!
That's a full point. Deb?
Well, the British chief medical officer said it, so he said they should put off Brexit. Okay, it wasn't that good. You know what I mean?
Don't say meh.
Meh.
Does anyone remember the question? The British government's chief medical officer says baby boomers will stay healthier the longer they put off retiring from work. So,
boo.
Okay.
Boo.
All right. I just read them. Don't act like I made it up. Who said it takes a long time to become young? Deb.
George Hamilton.
Some people remember Georgie. Mike Wilmot.
Who's George Hamilton, Grandma?
The boyish charm of Mike Wilmot.
Oh, he's so charming.
Who said it takes a long time to become young? Pablo Picasso. That's who. And now he's dead. Fitness experts recommend that adult children help their parents stay healthy by encouraging them to have plenty of what? Deb.
Money.
Good answer. 1 point.
I like to get my folks to Greco-Roman wrestle.
It's a nice visual.
Come on, Mom, get in there!
Circling each other.
You can get him! He's in a chair! Get him! Get him, Mom! I'm kidding. Dad's been dead for years.
Okay.
It's a joke.
All right. The actual answer is water. I don't even remember the question. That's the firing line, everybody. It is almost time for our theater audience to pick a winner. But first, here again to tell us that lordy, 60 is not the new 40. It's our age and timeless expert, Deb Kimmett.
If 60 is the new 40, then 90 will be the new 70, and 100 will be the new... I get a nosebleed just thinking about it. Who is going to pay for all this longevity? Millennials? No, because to them, 30 is the new 10, and they just got their tiny house and their first therapy dog, and... It's okay to be the age you are because now I can smuggle fruit across the border. And I need the fiber. I now collect CPP. That's right, I took it early because pretty soon we're going to have the highest population of old people in the history of Canada. And we're going to be like Canada geese, walking around and squawking, wah, 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 and pooping everywhere with no natural predator. So I'm taking the cash now, baby. At 60. Or as I like to say with my girlfriends, sexty. That's right. So let's get this debate over, boys, so I can get to Tim Hortons before it closes. Thank you.
Deb Kimmett, ladies and gentlemen. Deb Kimmett with a very intoxicating closing argument. And now all of you are going to follow Deb to Tim Hortons after. Mm-hmm. See where the tidbits go. Now, here again to tell us that age ain't nothing but a number, it's the very age-appropriate Mike Wilmot.
Ladies and gentlemen, in 1973, I was 10 years old. A 60-year-old in 1973 was born in 1913, lived through the Great Depression, probably saw action in World War II, lived in a time when we were actually dropping atomic bombs on other countries. They weren't the 60 years old people of today. They were little hunched people, full of nightmares and bacon grease. They thought bread was a vegetable. Today's 60-year-olds are running around 5K a day, wearing compression tights and Fitbits and Camelback water bottles, swimming in synthesized hormones. And what about Viagra, you're saying? Sure, it would have been easy to make fun of Viagra for the last 10 minutes. Why the hell didn't I do that? Stephen?
Mike Wilmot, ladies and gentlemen. Woo. Giving a good argument and almost an endorsement for a product at the end, but then not. There you have it, audience. It is up to you to pick a winner by applause. Who thinks that Mike's aging action was the most awesome? Mike Wilmot. Okay. And who thinks Deb saying 40's 40 and 60 is 60 was real nifty? Deb Kimmett. Well, very close. It's very close this time. I have to give this one to Deb Kimmett, the winner. 60's not the new 40. A big hand for Deb Kimmett and Mike Wilmot, everybody. Well, that's all for this week. I'm Steve Patterson saying, I don't care how old you are. If you keep listening, we'll keep helping you laugh. I'll argue with you again soon, Canada. Good night.
The Debaters, created by Richard Side. Produced this week by Graham Clark, Nicole Callender, Katie Ellen Humphreys, and Josh Bailey. Technical production by Jean-Sébastien Villeneuve and Conrad Hijazi. Executive producer of CBC Radio Comedy is Tracy Rideout. And thanks to everyone at the Meridian Theatres at Centrepoint in Ottawa. Hey Brandon, Manitoba, The Debaters is coming to you on April 3rd. For details, visit our website. We're cbc.ca/thedebaters.
For more CBC podcasts, go to cbc.ca/podcasts.